Hello everyone, I'm Smadar Ifrach from My Kitchen with Love. Today, 10 fabulous recipes. Gluten-free, let's start. Rolled cookies with a rich filling, gluten-free, and chocolate for spreading with nuts. Ingredients: 1 cup gluten-free flour, 100 grams powdered sugar, 100 grams butter, half a teaspoon of baking powder, 1 egg. Hello everyone. 1 teaspoon vanilla extract from My Kitchen with Love. 1 teaspoon oil. 10 fabulous recipes. And only if necessary, gluten-free, a teaspoon of cold water. Rolled cookies with for the filling, date spread. Gluten-free. And chocolate for spreading. Ground nuts. And chocolate for spreading. Or any other filling you like. 1 cup gluten-free flour. For the coating, powdered sugar. Preparation: 100 grams powdered sugar. I put all the ingredients in a bowl, except the cold water, and knead until a uniform dough. 1 egg. Hello everyone. 1 teaspoon vanilla extract from My Kitchen. 1 teaspoon oil. 10 fabulous recipes. And only if necessary, a teaspoon of cold water. Rolled cookies for the filling, date spread. Ground nuts. And chocolate for spreading. Or any other filling you like. For the coating, powdered sugar. Preparation: I put all the ingredients. If the dough has not come together, add the cold water and continue kneading until a uniform dough. 1 egg. 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. 1 teaspoon oil. And only if necessary, a teaspoon of cold water. I divide the dough in half. I place 1 dough on baking paper. I place baking paper over the dough. If the dough has not come together, and roll the dough add the cold water into a thin sheet, but not very thin. Continue kneading until a uniform dough. I divide the dough in half. I place 1 dough on baking paper. I place baking paper over the dough. If the dough has not come, and roll the dough into a thin sheet, but not very thin. Until a uniform dough. I peel the baking paper off the dough. I straighten around an elongated rectangle. spread date spread on the dough. I peel the baking paper off the dough. To the end. I straighten around an elongated rectangle. I sprinkle ground nuts on top. I spread date spread on the dough. I peel the baking paper to the end. Using baking paper, I roll the dough to the end. I cut at slightly equal intervals diagonally. And place on a baking sheet. Using baking paper. With baking paper, I roll the dough to the end. In this way, I also prepare the second part of the dough. I cut at slightly equal intervals diagonally. And place on a baking sheet. With baking paper, in this way, I also prepare the second part of the dough. From the leftover dough, I prepare the third part. I spread chocolate for spreading and sprinkle ground nuts on top. With baking paper. Put in a preheated oven. I also prepare the second part of the dough. Israel, 180 degrees. United States, 350 degrees. And bake for about 35 minutes. From the leftover dough, I prepare the third part until the cookies are slightly golden. Remove from the oven, place on a wire rack, and cool completely. I spread chocolate for spreading. I sprinkle powdered sugar on top and sprinkle ground nuts on top. From my kitchen with love. Subscribe to my channel. I hope you enjoy the marathon. Let's continue to recipe number 2. Until the cookies are slightly golden. Remove from the oven. Place on a wire rack. And cool completely. Hello everyone. I am Smadar Ifrach from my kitchen with love. Let's continue to a flourless almond and coconut cake. Ingredients: 2 cups almond flour from my kitchen with love, a cup of ground coconut. I hope you enjoy the marathon. A cup of sugar. Let's continue to recipe number 2. 4 eggs. Zest of 1 orange. Hello everyone. A 1/4 cup of orange juice. I am Smadar Ifrach from my kitchen with love. A 1/4 cup of oil. Let's continue to a teaspoon of extract vanilla. Almond and coconut cake. A very little salt. Almond for decoration. Ingredients: 2 cups almond flour. Preparation: I put in a bowl a cup of ground coconut, the almond flour with the coconut and salt. Mix well a cup of sugar, and set aside. Let's continue to recipe number 2. 4 eggs. Zest of 1 orange. Hello everyone. A 1/4 cup of orange juice. I am Smadar Ifrach from my kitchen with love. A 1/4 cup of oil. Let's continue to a teaspoon of extract vanilla. Almond and coconut cake. A very little salt. In another bowl I put the sugar. Almond for decoration. Add orange zest and mix well. 2 cups almond flour. Preparation: I put in a bowl a cup of ground coconut, the almond flour with the coconut and salt. Mix well and set aside. 4 eggs. Zest of 1 orange. A 1/4 cup of orange juice. A 1/4 cup of oil. I add the rest of the ingredients and mix well. A very little salt. In another bowl I put the sugar. Almond for decoration. Add orange zest and mix well. Preparation: I put in a bowl the almond flour with the coconut and salt. Mix well and set aside. I add the rest of the ingredients and mix well. I add the bowl with the almond flour. In another bowl I put the sugar. And mix well until a uniform mixture. Orange zest and mix well. Grease a small pan. A larger pan is possible. The cake will be low. I pour the mixture into the pan. Grease a small pan. I sprinkle almonds over. The cake will be low. I pour the mixture into the pan. Put in a preheated oven. Israel, 180 degrees. United States, 350 degrees. And bake for about 35 minutes. I sprinkle almonds over. Check with a toothpick, it comes out dry. I take the cake out of the oven and cool completely. From my kitchen with love. Subscribe to my channel. I hope you enjoy the marathon. Let's continue to recipe number 3. Put in a preheated oven. Israel, 180 degrees. United States, 350 degrees. And bake. Hello everyone. 35 minutes. I am Smadar Ifrach from my kitchen with love. Let's continue to a rich gluten-free almond cake. I take the cake out of the oven. Dough ingredients. Cool completely. 5 eggs, separated yolk and white. 90 grams of white chocolate. From my kitchen with love. 40-gram butter, cut into cubes. Subscribe to my channel. 2 tablespoons of sweet cream for whipping. 1 tablespoon of sugar. And another 4 tablespoons of sugar. 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. A very little salt. I am Smadar Ifrach from my kitchen. 3 tablespoons of almond flour. Let's continue to a rich gluten. 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Almond cake. Half a teaspoon of oil. First layer ingredients. 40 grams of chocolate. 10 grams of butter. 80 grams of ground nuts. 40-gram butter cut into cubes. Whipped cream ingredients. 2 tablespoons. About 300 grams of sweet cream for whipping. 1 teaspoon of instant vanilla. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And coconut for decoration. Preparing the whipped cream, I shake the sweet cream for whipping. 3 tablespoons of almond flour. Put it in a bowl and mix a little. 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Almond cake. I add the vanilla extract, half a teaspoon of oil, and vanilla instant. First layer and mix until the whipped cream is firm. 40 grams of chocolate. grams of butter, 80 grams of ground nuts. I wrap the bowl in plastic wrap, whipped cream ingredients, and put it in the fridge for at least an hour. Grams of sweet cream for whipping. 1 teaspoon. Preparing the dough, I put the white chocolate in a bowl, and I add the butter and the sweet cream. I shake the sweet cream for whipping. I put in the microwave for 30 seconds and mix a little. 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I add the vanilla extract. Well until it is a uniform mixture, and mix until the whipped cream is firm. 10 grams of butter, 80 grams of ground nuts. I wrap the bowl in plastic wrap. I put a little boiling water in a bowl and put it in the fridge for at least an hour. Place the bowl with the chocolate on top and set aside. Preparing the dough. In another bowl, I put the yolks. I put the white chocolate in a bowl and mix a little. I add the butter. I gradually add the tablespoon of sugar and the sweet cream and continue to mix. I shake the sweet cream for whipping. I put in the microwave. I add the oil for 30 seconds and continue to mix. And mix a little. I add salt and vanilla extract. Mix well and continue to mix until it is a uniform mixture, until a lighter color. I add the corn flour and almond flour. I put a little and mix well. In a bowl and put it in the fridge and place the bowl with the chocolate on top and set aside. In another bowl, I put the yolks. I put the white chocolate in a bowl and mix a little. I add the butter. I gradually add the tablespoon of sugar and the sweet cream and continue to mix. I add the oil for 30 seconds. I add the bowl with the chocolate to the mixture. I add salt and mix well. Mix well. And continue to mix until a lighter color. I add the corn flour and almond. In another bowl, I put the egg whites and mix well. And mix a little. I gradually add the 4 tablespoons of sugar and mix until a stable foam forms. I gradually add the tablespoon of sugar and continue to mix. I add the oil. I add the bowl with the chocolate to the mixture. Well. I add the egg white foam gradually and continue to mix to the mixture and mix in the form of a wrapper. In another bowl, I put the egg whites and mix a little. I gradually add the 4 tablespoons of sugar. And I put baking paper on a baking sheet and grease it. Pour the mixture into the baking sheet and level it. I add the bowl with the chocolate to the mixture. Pay attention that the mixture is liquid. To the mixture, I put it in a preheated oven. Israel, 180 degrees. United States, 350 degrees. And bake for about 20 minutes until a nice golden color. Remove from the oven and cool completely. Preparing the first layer, I melt the chocolate in the microwave. I put baking paper on a baking sheet for 30 seconds and grease it. I put the chocolate in a bowl into the baking sheet. Add the butter and level it and mix well. Pay attention. I add the ground nuts and mix until evenly mixed. I put it in a preheated oven. Israel, 180 degrees. United States, 350 degrees. And bake for about 20 minutes. I put a cake base on the work surface until a nice golden color and place it on top of a bottomless baking pan. Remove from the oven. I put the chocolate with the nuts in the baking pan, preparing the first layer, and level it. I melt the chocolate in the microwave. I remove the pan for 30 seconds and set the cake base aside. I put the chocolate in a bowl into the baking sheet. Add the butter. I place baking paper on the pan. Place a wire rack or baking pan over it and turn it over. Add the ground nuts and mix until evenly mixed. Peel the baking paper off the cake. Israel, 180 degrees. United States, 300. The edges along the length of the cake. I cut with a knife slightly diagonally until a nice golden color and place it on top of a bottomless baking pan. Remove from the oven. I put the chocolate with the nuts. The edges along the width of the cake. I cut straight. I melt the chocolate in the microwave. I remove the pan. I put baking paper on the cake base aside and turn it over to the other side. And divide the cake into 5 equal parts. If you want the cake to be less high and wider, cut more parts. Peel the baking paper off the cake. The edges along. I put about half of the whipped cream on the cake. I cut with a knife slightly and spread it in an even layer. And place it on top of a bottomless baking pan. I put the chocolate with the nuts. The edges along the width of the cake. I cut straight. I put baking paper on the cake. I roll out the first part of the dough to the other side. And place the rest of the dough layers and divide the cake into 5 equal parts. If you want the cake to be less high, on the bottom of the cake in the center, I wrap around the first layer and press down a little. I put about half of the whipped cream on the cake. I cut with a knife slightly and spread it in an even layer. I remove the rest of the chocolate from the bottom of the cake and set aside. I roll out the first part of the dough and place the rest of the dough layers. I fill the final edge of the dough with whipped cream and smooth it out. On the bottom of the cake, I put whipped cream on top of the cake. I wrap around the first layer and smooth it out and press down a little. I fill the whipped cream around the cake and smooth. The remaining chocolate, I sprinkle it on top and press down a little. I remove the rest of the chocolate from the bottom of the cake and set aside. I coat the cake all around with coconut. I roll out the first part of the dough. I place the cake on a plate and put it in the refrigerator for at least an hour. With whipped cream and smooth it out. On the bottom of the cake, I put whipped cream on top of the cake. I wrap around the first layer and smooth it out and press down. I fill the whipped cream around the cake and smooth. the remaining chocolate, I sprinkle it on top and press down a little. I remove the rest of the chocolate from the bottom of the cake and set aside. I coat the cake all around with coconut. From my kitchen with love. Subscribe to my channel. I hope you enjoy the marathon. Place the cake on a plate and put it in. Let's continue to recipe number 4. Hello everyone. I am Smadar Ifrach from my kitchen with love. Let's continue to a perfect gluten-free Swiss roll. Ingredients: 4 eggs, half a cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of oil from my kitchen with love, 2 heaping tablespoons of corn flour, I hope you enjoy 2 tablespoons of instant vanilla. Let's continue to recipe. Half a teaspoon of baking powder. Filling ingredients: jam, it doesn't matter which one. Hello everyone. And ground coconut. I am Smadar. You can fill it with whatever you want. Preparation. I put the eggs in the mixer bowl and sugar and mix on high speed. 4 eggs for about 4 minutes. Half a cup of sugar until a lighter color. 1 tablespoon of oil from my kitchen with love. 2 heaping tablespoons of corn flour. I hope you enjoy. 2 tablespoons of instant vanilla. Let's continue to recipe. Half a teaspoon of baking powder. Filling ingredients: jam, it doesn't matter which one. Hello everyone. And ground coconut. And set aside. Fill it with whatever you want. Preparation. I put the corn flour in a tall glass. I put the eggs in the mixer bowl. And add instant vanilla, baking powder, and mix on high speed. And mix well. 4 eggs for about 4 minutes. Half a cup of sugar until a lighter color. 1 tablespoon of oil. And add to the mixer bowl 2 heaping tablespoons of corn flour. 2 tablespoons of instant vanilla. And mix well. Half a teaspoon of baking powder. Filling ingredients: jam, it doesn't matter. I add the oil and mix. I put the corn flour in a tall glass. I wet a large, wide pan with water. I put baking paper, baking powder, and mix well. And grease it a little until a lighter color. And add to the mixer bowl. I pour the mixture into the pan. And mix well. I add the oil and mix. I straighten it into an even layer. I put the corn flour in a tall glass. I wet a large, wide pan with water. I put baking paper, baking powder, and mix well. Put it in the preheated oven. And grease it a little. Israel, 180 degrees. United States, 350 degrees. And bake for about 8 to 10 minutes. Check with a toothpick if it comes out dry. I take the pan out of the oven, place on a cooling rack for about 5 minutes. I turn the pan on baking paper. I peel off the baking paper. I straighten it into an even layer. Spread jam in an even layer. I put baking paper. Put it in the preheated oven. Grease it a little. Israel, 180 degrees. Sprinkle over coconut. United States, 350 degrees. And bake for about 8 to 10 minutes. Roll the cake all the way around. If it comes out dry, I take the pan out of the oven, place on a cooling rack for about 5 minutes. Transfer to a plate. I turn the pan on baking paper. I peel off the baking paper. Spread jam over the entire cake. I straighten it into an even layer. Spread jam in an even layer. Sprinkle over coconut. Sprinkle over coconut. United States, 350 degrees. And bake for about 8 to 10 minutes. Roll the cake all the way around. Cut the edges of the cake. I take the pan out of the oven. Place on a cooling rack for about 5 minutes. Transfer to a plate. I turn the pan on baking paper. Put the cake in the refrigerator for about half an hour. Spread jam over the entire cake. Cut into slices. Spread jam in an even layer. Sprinkle over coconut. Place on a plate. Roll the cake all the way around. Cut the edges of the cake. You can keep the cake in the refrigerator. Transfer to a plate. Put the cake in the refrigerator for about half an hour. Spread jam over the entire cake. From my kitchen with love. Cut into slices. Subscribe to my channel. Let's continue to recipe number 5. Sprinkle over coconut. Hello everyone. I am Smadar Ifrach from my kitchen with love. Let's continue to a gluten-free coconut cake. You can keep the cake in the refrigerator. Ingredients: 3 large eggs, half a cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, 1 cup of sweet cream for whipping. Subscribe to my channel. 1 cup of coconut flour. Let's continue to recipe number 5. A pinch of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Preparation: I break an egg in a small bowl. Check that there is no blood. The egg is clean. And transfer to the large bowl. This is how I check the 3 eggs. Ingredients: 3 large eggs, half a cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, 1 cup of sweet cream for whipping. And mix 1 cup of coconut flour. Let's continue to recipe number 5. A pinch of
I add the
salt.
sugar
1 teaspoon of
and
baking
mix.
powder. Preparation.
I add the vanilla
Break the
extract
egg in a small bowl.
and mix.
Check that there is no blood. The egg is clean.
I add the sweet cream gradually.
This is how I check the 3 eggs.
And mix.
3 large eggs. Half a cup of sugar. 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. 1 cup of sweet cream for whipping.
And mix.
1 cup of coconut flour. A pinch of
I add the
salt.
sugar
1 teaspoon of
and mix. I add the coconut flour. I add the vanilla extract and mix. And mix.
Check that there is no blood. The egg is clean.
I add the sweet cream gradually. It is advisable to filter the coconut flour in a sieve and add to the bowl. I filtered first. I continue to mix until a uniform mixture. Pay attention to the texture of the batter. The batter is not too liquid. If you have not reached this texture, add a little milk and mix and set aside. I take baking
I
paper,
add the coconut flour.
a little larger than the size of the pan,
I add the vanilla.
preferably a 20 by 20
and
pen,
mix.
and cut off the excess.
I add the sweet cream gradually. It is advisable to filter the coconut flour in a sieve and add to the bowl. I filtered first.
I fold the baking paper in 4.
I continue to mix until a uniform mixture.
and cut in half in the
Pay
middle
attention to the texture of the batter. The batter is not
and
too
put it in the pan.
If you have not
like
reached
this.
texture, add a little milk and mix and set aside.
I
take
grease the baking paper a little.
a little larger than the size of the pan, preferably a 20 by 20 pen, and cut off the excess. It is advisable to filter the coconut flour in a sieve and add to the bowl. I filtered first.
I fold the baking paper in 4.
I continue to mix
I pour the batter into the pan
until a uniform mixture and cut in
half in the middle
attention to the texture of the batter. The batter is not
and
too
put it in the pan
If you have not
like
reached
this.
this texture, add
and straighten.
and mix and set aside.
I grease the baking paper a little.
a little larger than the size of the pan, preferably a 20 by 20 pen, and cut off the excess. I fold the baking paper in 4.
Put in a preheated oven.
I pour the batter into the pan
Israel 180 degrees.
and cut in
United States 350 degrees.
half in the middle
And bake for about 40 minutes
and put it in the pan
until the cake is browned on all sides
and straight
and on top.
I grease the baking paper a little.
I take the cake out of the oven. Place on a wire rack and cool completely. Put in a preheated oven. I sprinkle powdered sugar on top. Israel 180 degrees. United States 350 degrees. And bake for about 40 minutes. Until the cake is browned on all sides and on top. I take the cake out of the oven. Place on a wire rack and cool completely. Put in a preheated oven. I sprinkle powdered sugar on top. Israel 180 degrees. United States 350 degrees. And bake for about 40 minutes. The cake is so delicious and soft that you will not stop nibbling. From my kitchen with love. Subscribe to my channel. I hope you enjoy the marathon. Let's continue to recipe number 6. Hello everyone. I'm Smadar Ifrach from my kitchen with love. Let's continue to a lemon cake with nuts. Gluten-free. Ingredients: 6 eggs separated into whites and yolks. The cake is so delicious and soft that you will not. Half a cup of potato flour. From my kitchen with love. Subscribe to my channel. Half a cup of gluten-free flour. I hope you enjoy the marathon. Let's continue to recipe number 6. 1 cup of sugar. Very little salt. Hello everyone. I'm half a teaspoon of baking powder. 3 tablespoons of squeezed lemon juice. A lemon cake with lemon zest and gluten-free. A 1/4 cup of water. Ingredients: 1 teaspoon of oil. 6 eggs separated into whites and yolks. 1 cup of ground nuts. Half a cup of potato flour. For the coating, powdered sugar. Preparation. Subscribe to my channel. I put the yolks in a bowl. Gluten-free flour. And mix a little. Let's continue to recipe number 6. 1 cup of sugar. Very little salt. Hello everyone. I gradually add half a cup of sugar and continue to mix until a lighter color. Lemon zest and gluten-free. A 1/4 cup of water. 1 teaspoon of oil. 6 eggs separated into whites and yolks. 1 cup of ground nuts. Half a cup of potato flour. For the coating, powdered sugar. Preparation. I put the yolks in a bowl and mix a little. 1 cup of sugar. Very little salt. I add the lemon zest. I gradually add half a cup of sugar and continue to mix the lemon juice until a lighter color. Water. Baking powder. A 1/4 cup of water. 1 teaspoon. Salt. and oil, and mix well until a uniform mixture.
For the coating, powdered sugar. Preparation.
I add the potato flour
The yolks in a bowl.
and gluten-free flour, and mix well until a uniform mixture. I add the lemon zest
I gradually add half a cup of sugar and continue to mix
the lemon juice,
until a lighter color.
water, baking powder,
Salt
and set aside.
and oil.
In another
Mix
bowl,
well
I put
until
the
a
egg
uniform
whites
mixture.
and mix a little.
I add the potato flour
I gradually add half a cup of sugar
and gluten-free flour.
and continue to mix until a
And mix
stable
well
foam.
until a uniform mixture. I add the lemon zest. The lemon juice. Water. Baking powder. Salt
And set aside.
and oil.
In another bowl, I put the egg whites. I add the bowl of egg whites
And mix a little
to the bowl with the yolk mixture and mix in a wrap
I add the potato flour.
until evenly mixed.
I gradually add half a cup of sugar and gluten-free flour and continue to mix until a stable foam, until a uniform mixture. And set aside. In another bowl, I put the egg whites
I add the bowl of egg whites
and mix a little
to the bowl with the yolk mixture. I add the ground nuts
and mix in a wrap
and mix until evenly mixed.
until evenly mixed. I gradually add half a cup of sugar and continue to mix until a stable foam.
I grease the baking pan. I pour the mixture into the baking pan.
I add the bowl of egg whites to the bowl with the yolk mixture
I add the ground nuts
and mix in a wrap
and mix until evenly mixed.
until evenly mixed.
Place in preheated oven. Israel 180 degrees. United States 350 degrees. Bake for about 50 minutes. Check with a toothpick which comes out dry
I grease the baking
and the
pan.
cake is golden on top. I put the cake on a wire rack and cool completely.
I pour the mixture into the baking pan.
I detach the cake from the sides and release the cake from the pan.
I add the ground nuts and mix until evenly mixed.
Place in preheated oven. Israel 180 degrees. United States 350 degrees. I sprinkle powdered sugar on the cake. Check with a toothpick, which comes out dry. I grease the baking, and the cake is golden on top. I put the cake on a wire rack and cool completely. I pour the mixture into the baking pan. I detach the cake from the sides and release the cake from the pan. From my kitchen with love. Subscribe to my channel. I hope you enjoy the marathon. Let's continue to recipe number 7. And the cake is golden on top. I put the cake on a wire rack and cool completely. Hello everyone. I'm Smadar Ifrach from My Kitchen with Love. Let's continue to a rich poppy seed cake, gluten-free. Ingredients: 5 eggs, 3/4 of a cup of sugar, from my kitchen with 3/4 of a cup of orange juice. Subscribe to my channel. 1/2 cup of oil. I hope you enjoy the marathon. 1 cup of matzah flour, gluten-free. Let's continue to recipe number 7. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1 cup of coconut. 1 cup of ground poppy seeds. 1 cup of broken nuts. I'm Smadar Ifrach. 1/2 cup of chopped chocolate. For topping, 200 grams of sweet cream for whipping. A rich poppy seed cake, gluten-free. 100 grams of chocolate, cut into cubes. Ingredients: 5 eggs. 1/2 cup of broken nuts for decoration. 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Preparation: 3/4 of a cup of orange juice. Subscribe to my channel. 1/2 cup. I put the eggs in a bowl. And mix a little. Flour, gluten-free. Let's continue to recipe number 7. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1 cup of coconut. I gradually add the sugar. 1 cup of ground poppy seeds. And continue to mix. 1 cup of broken nuts. Until light in color. 1/2 cup of and fluffy. Chocolate. Let's continue to. For topping, 200 grams of sweet cream for whipping. 100 grams of chocolate, cut into cubes. Ingredients: 1/2 cup of broken nuts for decoration. 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Preparation: 3/4 of a cup of orange juice. 1/2 cup. I put the eggs in a bowl and mix a little. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1 cup of coconut. I gradually add the sugar. 1 cup of ground poppy seeds. And continue to mix. 1 cup of broken nuts. Until light in color. 1/2 cup of and set aside. In another bowl, I put the rest of the ingredients. 100 grams of chocolate. And mix well until a uniform mixture. 1/2 cup of broken nuts for decoration. 3/4 cup of sugar. Preparation. I put the eggs in a bowl and mix a little. set aside. In another bowl, I put the rest of the ingredients and mix well until a uniform mixture. I add the bowl of eggs and mix in the form of a wrapper until a uniform mixture. I add the bowl of eggs and mix in the form of a wrapper until a uniform mixture. I grease the baking pan. Pour the mixture into the baking pan. Place in preheated oven. I grease the baking. Israel, 180 degrees. United States, 350 degrees. Bake for about 35 minutes. Check with a toothpick, which comes out dry. Pour the mixture into the baking. Place on a wire rack and cool completely. I put the sweet cream in a small pot on the gas and stir. Add the chocolate and stir. Place in preheated oven. Israel, 180 degrees. United States, 350 degrees. Bake for about 35 minutes. Check with a toothpick, which comes out dry. Pour the mixture into the baking. Place on a wire rack and cool completely. I put the Bring to almost a boil. Pot on the gas. Turn off the gas and continue to stir until a uniform color. Add the chocolate and stir. Place on a wire rack and cool until lukewarm. When the cake has cooled, I detach it from the sides of the pan. United States, 350 degrees. I place it over a baking pan or plate and turn over and release the cake from the pan. Bring to almost a boil. Turn off the gas and continue to stir. I mix the chocolate with the whipping cream well and pour over the cake and around. Place on a wire rack and cool until lukewarm. When the cake has cooled, I I detach it from the sides of the pan. I place it over a baking pan or plate and turn over and release the cake from the pan. I sprinkle on top with broken nuts. I mix the chocolate with the whipping cream well and pour over the cake and around. Place on a wire rack and cool until lukewarm. When the cake has cooled, I detach it from the sides of the pan. Put the cake in the refrigerator for at least 2 hours. I place it over a baking pan or plate and turn over and release the cake from the pan. From my kitchen with love, I sprinkle. Subscribe to my channel. Nuts. I hope you enjoy the marathon. Let's continue to recipe number 8. Hello everyone. I am Smadar Ifrach from my kitchen with love. Let's continue to put the cake in the refrigerator for at least delicious and healthy. Gluten-free date ball candy. Ingredients: 20 small dates or 10 large dates. Subscribe to my channel. 1 cup of Sheba Fox, thin. I hope you enjoy the marathon. 2 tablespoons cocoa. Let's continue to recipe number 8. 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. 1 cup boiling water. Ground coconut for coating. Preparation. Hello everyone. I cut the date in half. Remove the seed from my kitchen with love and cut into small pieces. Let's continue to put the cake in the refrigerator for at least delicious and healthy. Gluten-free date ball candy. Ingredients: and transfer to a bowl. 10 large dates. Subscribe to my channel. 1 cup of Sheba Fox, thin. I hope you enjoy the I strain the cocoa and add to the bowl 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. I add the boiling water and using a fork I mash the dates. Preparation. I cut the date in half. Remove the seed from my kitchen with love. I add the oats. Small pieces. And vanilla extract and mix well until a uniform mixture. And transfer to a bowl. 1 cup of Sheba Fox. Pay attention how the mixture looks. I strain the cocoa and add to the bowl 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. I add the boiling water and using a fork I mash the dates. I transfer to a small bowl. Preparation. I cut the dates in half. Remove the seed. I add the oats. I wrap the bowl in plastic wrap and put it in the fridge for half an hour for the mixture to set. After half an hour, I take the bowl out of the fridge. Pay attention how the mixture looks. I take some of the mixture and form a ball. I put the ball in the bowl of ground coconut and coat the ball on all sides. I transfer to a small bowl. Place on a plate at small intervals. You can form balls of any size you want. From this quantity, I made 20 balls. I wrap the bowl in plastic wrap and put it in the fridge for half an hour. I put the plate in the freezer for an hour. After an hour, I took out the plate. I take the bowl out of the fridge. To serve unfrozen, I take some of the mixture and form a ball. I put the ball in the bowl of ground. The candy so delicious that you won't stop snacking on it. On something sweet. Place on a plate is very easy to prepare. From my kitchen with love. Subscribe to my channel. From this quantity I made. I hope you enjoy the marathon. Let's continue to recipe number 9. I put the plate in the freezer for an hour. After an hour, I took out the plate. Hello everyone. I'm Smadar Ifrach from my kitchen with love. Let's continue to gluten-free Maamoul cookies filled with dates and nuts. On something sweet. Dough ingredients is very easy to 180 grams of potato flour, 50 grams of all-purpose flour, subscribe to my channel, 100 grams of butter cut into cubes. I hope you enjoy the marathon. 30 grams of corn flour. Let's continue to recipe number 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 4 tablespoons of sugar, 1 egg. Hello everyone. I'm Smadar. Filling ingredients. Kitchen with love. 200 grams of ground nuts. Continue to 4 tablespoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, filled with dates, a very little ground cloves, not required, zest from 1 orange. Dough ingredients: 1 tablespoon of orange juice, 180 grams of potato flour, 3 drops of rose water, 100 grams of butter cut into cubes, 50 grams of crushed dates, 30 grams of corn flour, powdered sugar for coating, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, preparation, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, dough preparation, 4 tablespoons of sugar. I put the potato flour in a bowl, 1 egg. Filling ingredients: add the almond flour, 200 grams of ground nuts, and butter, 4 tablespoons of sugar, and mix until a crumbly mixture is formed. A very little ground cloves, not required. Zest from 1 orange. Dough ingredients: 1 tablespoon of orange juice, 80 grams of potato flour, 3 drops of rose water, 100 grams of butter cut into 50 grams of crushed dates, 30 grams of corn flour, powdered sugar for coating, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, preparation, vanilla extract, dough preparation, 4 tablespoons of sugar. I put the potato flour in a bowl, 1 egg. Filling ingredients: I add the rest of the dough ingredients and butter, and mix until a uniform mixture is formed. And mix until a crumbly mixture is formed. A very little ground cloves, not required. Zest from 1 orange. 1 tablespoon of orange juice. Add the rest of the dough ingredients and butter. Pay attention, the dough is very sticky. Transfer to a smaller bowl. I wrap the bowl in plastic wrap. Put in the fridge for at least 2 hours. Preparing nut filling. I put all the filling ingredients in a bowl, except the dates, and mix well until a uniform. Pay attention, the dough is very sticky. Transfer to a smaller bowl. I wrap the bowl in plastic wrap. Set aside. Put in the fridge for at least 2 hours. The date filling. I put the dates in the microwave for 10 seconds. I put all the filling ingredients in a bowl. Transfer to a bowl and crush a little. Except the dates. And mix well until a uniform. I add 2 tablespoons of the nut filling to the dates. And mix well until a uniform mixture is formed. Transfer to a smaller bowl. I take some of the mixture, roll into a ball, and place on a plate. I put the dates in the microwave for 10 seconds. I put all the filling ingredients in a bowl. Transfer to a bowl and crush a little. The dates. And mix well until a uniform. I add 2 tablespoons of the nut filling to the dates. And set aside and mix well until a uniform mixture is formed. I take the dough out of the fridge. Place a baking sheet with baking paper on the work surface. Put a little corn flour in your hands. Take some of the dough and roll into a ball. Creates a kind of bowl. I take some of the mixture, roll into a ball, and place on a plate. I put the dates in the microwave for 10 seconds. Filled with nut filling. Crush a little. Pinch the edges. And the rest of the dough, I take it off. I add 2 tablespoons of the nut filling to the dates. And set aside. And mix. Roll it into a ball. I take the dough out of the fridge and place it on the baking sheet. Place a baking sheet with baking paper on the work surface. Put a little corn flour in your hands. For the date filling, I put a little corn flour in my hands. Take some of the dough, roll it into a ball, and flatten it. Filled with nut filling. Place dates in the center. Pinch the edges. Pinch the edges. And the rest of the dough. Take the rest of the dough and roll it into a ball. And set aside. Roll it into a ball. I take the dough out of the fridge and place it on the baking sheet. Place a baking sheet with baking paper. I press the top a little with a fork to create a different shape for the date cookies. For the date filling, I put a little corn flour in my hands. This is how I finish all the dough.
Take some of the dough.
Once, I fill it with dates.
Roll it into a ball.
And once, I fill it with nuts.
And flatten it. Filled with nut filling. Place dates in the center. Pinch the edges. Take the rest of the dough.
Put it in a preheated
Roll it
oven.
into a ball.
Israel, 180 degrees.
Roll it into
United States, 350 degrees.
and place it on the baking sheet.
Bake for 25 minutes until a
I press
beautiful
the top
golden
lid with
color.
a fork to create a different shape for the date cookies. For the date filling.
Remove from the oven. Place on a wire rack. Sprinkle powdered sugar on top.
And once I fill it with nuts.
The cookies are very delicious. You won't stop snacking. From my kitchen with love,
Place dates in the center.
subscribe to my channel.
Pinch the edges.
I hope you enjoy the marathon.
Rest of the dough. Put it in a preheated oven.
Let's continue to recipe number 10.
Israel, 180 degrees. United States, 350 degrees. Bake for 25 minutes
Hello everyone,
until a beautiful golden color.
I'm Smadar Ifrach from my kitchen with love.
Different shape for the date cookies.
Let's continue to
Remove from the oven.
gluten-free
Place on
almond and
wire
coconut
rack.
cookies.
Sprinkle powdered sugar on top. And once I fill it with nuts. The cookies are very delicious. You won't stop snacking.
Ingredients: 4 egg whites,
From my kitchen with love.
1 cup almond flour,
Subscribe to my channel.
half a cup natural
I
almond,
hope you enjoy the marathon. Put it in a preheated oven. Let's
3/4 of a
continue
cup
recipe
of
number 10.
gluten-free matzo flour,
80 degrees.
half a cup ground coconut,
Bake for 25 minutes.
half a cup sugar,
Hello everyone. Until a beautiful golden color. I'm Smadar
half a
Ifrach
teaspoon
from
baking
my kitchen
powder,
with love.
a little
Let's
cinnamon,
continue to remove from the oven. Gluten-free
half a cup
almond
orange
and
juice,
coconut cookies. Sprinkle powdered sugar on top.
half a cup almond syrup,
The cookies are very delicious.
1 tablespoon of oil.
Ingredients. 4
Preparation:
egg whites. From my kitchen with love. 1 cup almond flour. Subscribe to my channel.
I put the egg
Half
whites
cup
in a
natural
bowl.
almond. I hope you enjoy the marathon. 3/4 of a cup of
Mix until
gluten-free
foamy and
matzo
almost
flour.
stable.
Half a cup ground coconut. Half a cup sugar. Hello everyone. I'm Smadar.
I gradually add the sugar. Mix until foamy and stable.
Half a cup orange juice. Half a cup almond syrup. 1 tablespoon of oil. Preparation. 1 cup almond flour. I put the egg whites in a bowl. 3/4 of a cup of mix until foamy and almost stable. Half a cup ground coconut. Half a cup sugar. I gradually add the sugar. Mix until foamy and stable. Half a cup orange juice.
I add the almond flour and mix in a wrapper.
Preparation. I put the egg whites in a bowl.
add natural almond flour and mix in a wrapper. I gradually add the sugar. Mix until foamy and stable. I add the almond flour and mix in a wrapper. I add the matzo flour and baking powder. And mix in a wrapper. I add natural almond flour and mix in a wrapper. I add the almond syrup and mix in a wrapper. I add the almond flour and mix in a wrapper. I add the matzo flour and baking powder. And mix in a wrapper. I add the coconut and mix in a wrapper. I add natural almond flour and mix in a wrapper. I add the cinnamon. Oil. I add the almond syrup and the orange juice and mix in a wrapper. Mix in a wrapper until the mixture is uniform. I add the matzo flour and baking powder. And mix in a wrapper. I add the coconut and mix in a wrapper. I add the cinnamon. Pay attention to the texture. Oil. I add the almond syrup and the orange I take a tall glass and put a piping bag until the mixture with a medium-sized nozzle inside. I put some of the mixture inside the piping bag. Pay attention to the texture. I put baking paper on a baking pan. I take a tall glass and a little grease and put a piping bag until the mixture with a medium-sized nozzle inside. I put some of the mixture inside the piping bag. I sprinkle cookies on the baking paper in intervals. I put baking paper on a baking pan. I take a tall glass and a little grease and put a piping bag with a medium-sized nozzle inside. From this amount, I made 30 cookies. I sprinkle cookies on the baking paper in intervals. Put in a preheated oven. Israel, 180 degrees. United States, 350 degrees. And bake for about 25 minutes. The cookies are so delicious that you won't stop snacking. From my kitchen with love. Subscribe to my channel. Don't miss out on delicious recipes. From this amount, you can find my cookbooks on Amazon. Cookies. I hope you enjoy the marathon. Good luck. Put in a preheated oven. I use an international measuring cup. Israel, 180 degrees. One side shows the cups. United States, 300. And the other side shows the liquids. And bake for or measuring cups. Minutes.